My approach for starting a new track. Honestly, it's kind of switched over time. So it used to be I would start off with a drop and then I build something around it. But now most of the time I'm constantly making melodies every day. So I think having a melody in mind is a good way to kind of figure out where the drop's going to go. So I'm constantly making chord progressions almost every time I'm in Ableton, and I just make something new, and it's just some type of chord progression or some type of lead, top line, something like that. Something to kind of have an idea of what this is sounding like just on a sonic level, where it's not focused on just like the drop of things. And then from there, it gives me an idea of like how much energy is being put into it, and it kind of gives me an idea of where the drop can go. So I start with some type of melody, and then I expand from there into usually like a build up. That way it just kind of doesn't have to necessarily be the intro as the starting point, maybe like the verse or something, and then it just goes straight into everything else from there. Stupid question, but can you tell me if you sidechain your sub with your kicks? Yes, I do sidechain my subs. I will be going over that today. I actually sidechain slightly differently now than in these projects. It's Friday in Australia. Oh yes, that's true. Happy Friday. Thanks for doing this again. Absolutely. I'm so happy to be back here. When they reached out, it was like an instant yes. I really like working with you guys. I really like, DeFi Society in general. I'm pretty vocal in general about being against, schooling for music, but this is a very different approach to that. And this is an approach I actually heavily support, because you guys are learning from the best, in my personal opinion. You guys are learning from incredible acts, and it's not like a strict, curriculum or anything. You guys are like literally just like getting instructed by some awesome guys, and you guys are getting some one-on-ones. And I think everything about this, about DeFi is actually really fucking cool. So I'm happy to, like, anytime they want me here, I'm gonna be back here. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm stoked about it. Let's jump in though real quick. I'm gonna answer some more of your questions here in a little bit, because I got hella time. All right, I got 75. I'm legally obligated to be on here for the next 12 hours. I'm just kidding. That's not true. Okay. Real quick, we're gonna jump in to Ableton. Should be opening. Yeah, we're good. I'm just double checking that. Yeah, look at this over my head. I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna disable my preview as well, just so it's a little bit easier on my CPU. Sorry guys. Cool. So here's Over My Head. You guys might have heard it. I just put this out. When did I put this out? Monday on Subsidia, which is Excision's new label. That was the hardest secret to keep probably of all time. But I did a good job. But yeah, this is what it sounds like. We're going to skip ahead here. I think I have sonar works on here. I'll turn that off. There we go. A little bit better for you.
Hey Ray, come with the tune.
Got some cool stuff going on here. Real quick, my reaction to Subsidia was really, really cool. I didn't actually know too much about it. I'll dive into that in a little bit. I want to get at least a little bit of the intro done with you, and then I can explain that, because it's actually a really interesting kind of story of how that unfolded. We got like a 130 BPM heavy trap hybrid-y type drop going on here, at least for the first drop. I really like this one. This song is one of my favorites probably of all time. The opening, something really nice. I started off things here with a little VHS tape kind of start. I found it on like a random website, freesound, I think.org. You can check the Creative Commons and stuff like that. This little, ooh, that's fucking spicy, dude. Let's get it.
Bruh.
We need that one in there for that. That's fucking good stuff right there. And then it just kind of enters. And I thought that kind of, doing something like that, it's just a little bit interesting for a start of a song. Everything is kind of just, impact with a fucking huge kick and a huge down sweep, and I'm just like, I'm just not gonna, I don't want to go about that. I want to have something a little bit different. I want it to be a really pretty intro. So I randomly, my CPU is going to get shitty if I unfreeze things, so I'm going to try to keep it to a minimum when it comes to the vocal stuff, but I will show you my processing. But this vocal here, is just me going into my mic, just I'm in over my head. You know, I'm just singing along with it. I threw some. Let's open it up just to see if it'll work. I have some nectar on here. Nectar is very, very, very much a part of my production process. If any of you remember from last time, I think I did go over some nectar stuff because I did go over Memories of You. I think I did, at least, yeah. And I use nectar on everything. Sometimes for tuning, mostly I use Melodyne for tuning though, but sometimes I'll do it if I'm feeling lazy, by just just dropping the speed on the correction here. But I mainly use it for the formant switches because you can use it in a little Alter Boy, but I actually kind of like the way that it sounds in Nectar just a little bit better. I think it has a little bit of a different feel, as well as the harmony options here, where you can just set different unison settings where you could just have doubles, or you can set them to different octaves, which is really cool. So if I were to take this and I were to push this up to super octave and I bring it all the way up, I don't know if you could hear too much of this, but if I were to maybe boost the gain, I can't actually boost it all the way. Let's try that. Oh, I can't take it down. Oh, that's a shame. Let me try doing a sub octave or something here. What's approach to you selecting? For labels, when I'm I'm usually just thinking in my head what label does this fit best on. I reach out. So you can hear it definitely a little bit better there. Even though my CPU is starting to act up, so I'm gonna freeze it again here in a second. But adding different unison levels, like different type of doubles, or adding in some extra octaves, just kind of surrounding it, filling up the spectrum on that vocal a little bit. It sounds really, really nice. Which at least in my personal opinion. We also have some OTT Camel Crusher, which I use on everything. Everyone knows I use OTT Camel Crusher on everything I have. Someone asked, what exactly is Nectar? Is it the same as Serum? Absolutely not. Serum is a VST. That's a synth. This is also a VST, but this is not a synth. This is an audio effect where it is constantly basically kind of changing or affecting your pitch of vocals, or any type of audio. Technically, you can use it's mainly used for vocals though. So you can tune things with it. You see there's 3 different vocal registers here. There's low, mid, and high. Basically wherever you're singing on, you can just kind of pick, okay, I'm singing low here, singing mid, singing high, and you have scale here where you can set the scale, what key your song's in, and it'll match the scale to that way. If you have the correction enabled here, it will automatically be in key. So you can see I have the speed all the way down here, and you can see it's kind of what the whole point of Nectar right here is. It's that's the center piece, and it's kind of grabbing it and kind of just trying to pull it onto itself. That way it stays in key. And you also have formant control here, and formants are kind of it's kind of affecting. It sounds the easiest way I can explain it, because I'm not great with technical terms, but the best way, that's why it's like dubstep for dummies or something, is the way I like to explain it, is because I'm so awful at explaining things, is it's kind of like emulating pitch bend without actually changing the pitch at all. So if you were to check here, if I play this and I take this and I drop this down, so it's kind of pushing the way it sounds higher and higher in terms of how, where the pitch is actually sitting, but the actual notes, everything's the same. Those are the notes themselves. They're not changing at all. It's staying right there on the root of what I recorded it at. And it's really interesting how you can get some really cool results. You can hear it in Would You Ever from Skrillex and Pooh Bear. Black Bear's used it a lot, made it really popular in his songs. You can hear some better examples of this later on in the song, and I'll play some more of those as well. But first, I'm going to actually just go ahead. I'm going to refreeze this. That way we don't die. Do I prefer it for pitch shifting above little Alter Boy, or just for vocals? I personally, I use Little Alter Boy more in terms of messing with formants, but if I am messing around with other things besides formants, I'll go ahead and just do it all inside of Nectar, because it's all there. Because with Nectar, the other things that you can look at, let me actually go back and open this real quick again. The other things that you have involved in Nectar, you have, like I said earlier, the harmony section here, where you can add those doubles, you can add extra, voices, higher octaves and lower octaves. You also have some saturation that's in here. You have a compressor, a de-esser, you have an EQ. There's a lot of different things that you have in here. There's reverb, delay, dimension expander. You can see all the options right here, and there's also a gate that you can add. It's really useful. There's a lot of really cool presets in here. I really highly recommend getting it, honestly, if you can. I think it's on Splice, so you can rent to own it for anyone that's trying to save a couple bucks. I really like it a lot. So where you place those unison markers is like panning the harmonies. Absolutely, exactly that. If you have them sitting on the left, it's going to just be coming out of that channel. The closer you have it to the center, and it's going to be, you know, centered on the vocal. But then the higher you have it is going to be the gain. So if it's centered, but it's at the middle, it's not going to be that loud. It'll probably be like -10 or so decibels. But the higher you have it, it'll be closer to 0 that you have. I really like using it a lot. You get some really cool stuff out of here, especially in this main vocal right here. So you have that here now. And if I were to show you this, if I take, you know, this off and I start messing with the, oh, whoops, let's turn this back on, turn down all of this here, so you can hear what exactly the form is doing and what Nectar is doing compared to everything else. I'm just going to group this for you. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to turn these two off as well. And I'm going to leave that EQ on there as well as the decrackle here, just because it's a little bit of gating, a little bit of just easy clean up there. But if we have this now, right? Oh, whoa. CPU is not agreeing with that at all, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to get too deep into this. Let me actually try turning off these then and seeing if this makes any type of difference. Here we go. I can't seem to forget. I never thought it would end. So you have that, and that's just me singing high on this vocal here specifically. Also, you know, a couple things that are being warped just because I need it to not be completely, like, it wasn't completely on beat, because I didn't do it with a metronome when I did it, because it was like a last minute vocal. I had originally an Uffy vocal here. If anyone knows who Uffy is, then you're a fucking OG. She's really talented. I had a placeholder for one of her songs on here, and I just didn't have a vocal on it for the longest time. And then when I pitched it to Excision for the Subsidia stuff, I was like, fuck, I need a vocal on this. So I quickly recorded it without a metronome, so I had to go in and warp some things. But if we go back into Nectar here, check this out. Can't seem to forget, I never thought it would end. I'm in over my head, I'm in over my head. So you see how I'm still singing those same notes, but the key isn't, so the key's not changing at all, but the actual kind of pitch of my voice is going down, and that's what formants are here. It's so awesome. Can't seem to forget, I never thought it would end. You get some really cool control here, but I left that all default. It all kind of comes down to, I wanted some strong kind of like auto tune on it, so I have this basically almost all the way down here. Can't seem to forget, because I think it sounds pretty cool when I like personally like the super auto tune feel whenever my vocals are pitched up at all, which in this case they are. I think it sounds just a little bit cooler because if I were to turn this Melodyne back on, I were to turn everything else back on here, and this here, and this here.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
And I were to just undo everything and get this back to frozen, because I actually have this pitched up about 3 semitones or so. Let's undo, keep going here, because now it's all. But I have everything pitched up because I like to do the over auto tune thing specifically with tracks that are pitched up vocals. I think it sounds a little weird when it's standard pitch and it's just like me singing how I normally do. But when it's something like this and it's pitched up a little bit, I think it's a lot nicer to have that over auto tune vibe. It is Nectar 3. Nectar 2 has its own pitch editor as well, but Nectar 3 didn't include one. They upgraded to Nectar 3 this year, which is really cool. But you know, you have some really cool stuff that you can do with it. I really recommend you guys get it. Otherwise, there's some transpo stuff that's going on here. I have a couple of these just kind of chopped around just because I want it to sound a little bit different over time. And someone asked about the frequency shifter, but if you take a look here, it's actually turned off for the majority. It might actually be turned off for the entire thing, except for just the ending here, where it's just towards the end for the... Let me turn on my fancy little freeze here. And it's just leading into the build up here, because if you check under down here we have another section where build vocals come in, and it's the same thing just repeated, but I wanted to have that there, that dip in the frequency. That way it just kind of goes to shit and gets really glitchy, and it goes. So I just gave it a separate track, and I wanted that one to end on a really interesting note. That way it sounds nice when it transitions through. Like, just adds a nice bit of finesse, as Gordon Ramsay would say, to the transition into that build-up section. Speaking of this, though, before we get into that build, I do want to point out some of these synths that we have going on here, because I really like this kind of hook section here. We have two different main pads. One's flattened because they're all Omnisphere, at least for the most part. This one was having issues panning back and forth, and sometimes it was starting to glitch out. I don't know if everyone else that has Omnisphere has issues where like the sound will just start to re-trigger in a really weird way, and I own it too, which is strange, but it sounds like this, which I only have some reverb and delay on here, nothing crazy, and I liked how it was panning back and forth, but of course I needed it to let's hit a bruh. I needed to have some more filling up that spectrum, so it sounded nice and full, so I added a secondary pad here that's a very similar one from Omnisphere as well. And just combined, it sounds very full. Really nice. And I also have a really nice, well, kind of a plucky pad, I call it. Sounds like some chimes involved. Got this nice kind of percussive hit. It's really nice. As well, if I go in here. Now I have those phasey saws. But it would not be complete without the whistle, which is just another Omnisphere sound here. Very completes it. And something I want to get into here while we're looking at this progression specifically, I was actually doing a one-on-one lesson recently with one of my clients, and he was asking me how I make my chord progressions sound, I guess, like the way that they do. And something I really want to point out to you guys is that I do something where I want to make sure that my chord progressions resolve, but then once they do resolve and they go back, I want them to change. I want them to, you know, go one way, and then when they bounce back, I want them to head another way, because it adds this new sense of an energy and this new feeling, that you don't get out of just, you know, this progression repeating itself. So, you know, it goes up and then back down here. So if it goes here, 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 and then I want it to restart, but I want it to go higher now, and then even more, and then it's gonna pitch down an octave going up. That way, you know, it just kind of resolves again at the end there into the build up. I just think that doing stuff like that is really important to kind of help your chords stand out a bit and have your progression stand out a bit. Do I have a counter melody or anything going on with just the pads? Yeah, so the counter melody does kind of come in to just not necessarily a counter melody, but it ends up just being this kind of switch up on the second half of the progression here. Sometimes I will add in some type of counter melody or some type of like harmony top lead or something like here, but this one I wanted to keep it pretty simple. I wanted the vocals to really shine in this section, and that's exactly what I did. If you hear it, it's besides, you know, a kick with the exhaust and stuff, it's just that. Except I do have this one vocal here, also from, you know, the same kind of, you know, Nectar vibe going on. I have this verse before where it's and I have this repeating with some reverb opening up, and then the note's gonna change. Right here, I'll be like, just adds a nice little just something really pretty in the background to help kind of just still fill this world. I like to look at every song as like its own Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. They need to all kind of like connect in some way, and they all need to have their own individual elements as well. Going into this build though, real quick, let's see here. You know, we have the generic, very standard build up, like the bass, like the drop is in the build up, but it's like, you know, just cut off. So of course, I just have like a little cut off here with an auto filter here, as well as some of that easy washout. I'm sure that most of you know about the easy washout by now. If you don't, it's a free audio effect rack that you can download online, and it's just a bunch of compression with some reverb and an EQ. It's actually just swooping out all the lows when the reverb opens up. That way everything just washes out. Everyone's using it. I'm sure you guys know. I'm not going to go on a spiel with it. At what point during an intro design do you make the connection between deciding to add a vocal? What's your thought process to make that determination? So if I usually know just by the progression alone, because the way that I work, because I do sing on my songs, I'm constantly thinking of like ideas in my head while I'm making it, if there's like a vocal in mind for it. So sometimes I'll be working on this, not this song specifically, but a song in general, and I'll be working on it, and I'll be like, and I'll be like, okay, well now I have like a melody idea that's gonna be for a vocal top line, and I'll go from there. But sometimes I don't think of stuff like that. I think it depends on the context of the song, because I have some songs like in Break It Down, which is going to be the second song we go over today. That song doesn't really need a singing vocal on it. So, you know, when you hear that intro, you're like, yeah, that doesn't need it. So it kind of just depends on the context. What layers do I have in the builds? What different risers, drum samples? For sure. Let's go over them right now. I was actually just about to show you the snare build shit group right here, which is a couple different things. We have this random long sweep, which is the Cashmere pack. And that thing just plays twice. There's nothing on it. It's just sitting pretty quiet in the mix. A lot of my mix downs are leveling based. I know a lot of you might want to kill me for that, because I feel like you guys are probably learning from other instructors and other producers in here. They're like, yeah, you know, you got to make sure that you cut out, you know, 500 hertz. You have to do a dip right here, get a notch in there. And then, oh man, like, you know, the upper mids at like 16K is just like piercing my ear. And then, but like, no. So I don't do much of this. I'm just constantly leveling everything. I don't do too much EQ work personally. I'm a believer in the more you EQ shit out, the bigger of a hole you're putting in your mix, and then you can't make up for it at the end. And then it sounds like, you know, I'll be listening to a song and I'm like, where are the mids on here? It's just like gone, or like a certain section just feels dead to me. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's the way I look at it. And hey, you know, that might be controversial. I don't know. I'm just doing my best. Do I ever sing over a progression and then transcribe it to a synth top line melody instead? That could be a great technique. I actually do. I do that as a placeholder usually. I'm constantly, you know, because I don't want to lose that in my head. So I will write it out in MIDI with like a random synth. And then sometimes I actually end up keeping it for just a melody instead. You're right. Sometimes I just use it as a placeholder. So it just kind of depends on the song. And I also think it depends on my laziness on if I want to think of lyrics or write lyrics, because that is a huge factor here. If it sounds good, keep it. Yeah, dude, it's not always like required to like EQ every fucking thing you touch, and like some people are just get so crazy about it. And I try to keep it as simple as I can, because I want to have as much fun as I can. And the more it starts feeling like work, then the less fun you're having, and then you're not going to like that song anymore. And I personally love all my music. I might sound like egotistical, but I'm genuinely proud of everything I've ever made, for the most part. But aside from that sweep, getting off topic here, I do have a snare here, a little hip-hop snare from the Cashmere pack as well. Only thing being automated here, besides the volume, is I have the frequency shifter on the fine tune here. That way it just pitches up, or emulates it, you know. And I don't know how many of you do that, but that's a really good technique if you want to, you know, pitch your snares up for a build up, but you don't want to, let's say you don't, I don't use drum racks, as you can probably see here. I don't use drum racks ever. So if I'm using just audio, I don't want to consolidate it, warp it, transpose it up. I can just use a frequency shifter, use the fine tune, which also I would recommend using on your snares, by the way. Just use the fine tune on a frequency shifter with a snare. You change the key, change the transient, change where it hits, throw a spectrum on it, and you're set. I'll show you that in a little bit as well if you guys want to see. I'll show you probably during the second track. I know I'm probably gonna fucking go over time on the one like I did last time, because I just have too much fun talking to you guys. But yeah, we have that, and we also have this cymatics. Is that illegal to say cymatics in 2020? I don't know, but I have this drum build up here, just a couple claps. Because if I'm ever feeling lazy and I want to find a loop, I just look up the cymatics pack. And you know, all that together, you get this nice little section here, a nice little, with some extra claps. Fun stuff going on there. Nice way to kind of just, you know, add some energy, because the whole point of a track, right? You're just building energy constantly until it breaks down, at least. So I thought that was a good combination of layers right there. Aside from that, though, inside the all the goodies group, because I'm kind of organized, not really, but kind of. Everything kind of goes in one group. This is the extent of my EQ right here. EQ 8, 100 cut off, thick cut right there. I'm good to go. Yeah, there's reverb on the group. Don't worry about it. That's for something else. You don't need to know. I'm just kidding. The reverb is actually not being used at all. There was a point where I was going to have it transition out of the drop into like an impact section, so I had it on there, but it's actually not doing anything, so you don't got to worry about it. But I also have sidechain on that group, which we can go over here in a little bit. But the main layers, aside from that, anything building energy in here? Let's see. So we do have another little sweep here. But otherwise, there's not really too much else going on. We have these war horns, but they're not going to be building anything here. They're just going to be kind of in the background, kind of giving you that tribal kind of, oh shit, what's going on? Steven wants you to know that it's here. Which Steven? Which Steven are we talking about? I know too many Stevens. If the recourse is there, then no shame in using it. I work with a lot of cymatic samples. Yeah, the only thing I think I get touchy with, and I get like a little bit like kind of disgust that, I never try to touch bass samples or anything like that unless it's being changed dramatically. I try to make everything in terms of synths and basses, or mainly basses. Synths, I'm not ashamed. I'll go into fucking Spire and find a cool preset for synths that are like pads and stuff like that, because I don't know how people do pad design and like fucking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how the fuck, who's making plucks out here? I'm just gonna go find a, no, I'm just kidding. No disrespect. If you're making plucks, I have so much respect for you, because, oh, Steven Cymatics? That's sick. Love it. But yeah, we have that cool little build going on, and we're gonna jump right into this pre-drop, you know, which is also just me saying that with some nectar on there. Let me actually be able to see if I can turn this off, show you the difference, so you can hear what.
Hey Ray, come with the tune.
So, you know, it's pitched just one semitone down there, and then when it gets lower, we're getting into some lower territories here in like -6 and -4, as well as you got the OTT Camel Crusher, but the delay is doing some of the work here as well, giving it that cool like, kind of robotic effect.
Hey Ray, come with the tune.
That delay does some cool stuff.
Hey Ray, come with the tune.
But the fucking nectar on this, dude, the nectar is just gonna come in here. Let me show you what it looks like real quick before I freeze this so you can hear it clearly. I just have it pitched down an octave, and I have the formant slightly boosted, and you get this cool.
Hey Ray, come with the tune.
Ooh, you make plucks? Dude, I fucking respect you for making plucks, because I don't get the time, dude. I gotta just go in. I go into Spire, I'm like, oh, here's a pluck. I'm good to go. But you get some really cool stuff. Yeah, the tonal delay is fucking for ya. We have this cool drop coming up now. Hey. And if there's one thing in this drop I'm not going to go over, it's this one. I did this last time. I told you last time, I can't go over the growl. I can't go over the growl with you. I can show you the post-processing. I can't go over the secrets of how it's made because it was made as a complete accident and it's not going to make sense to you anyway. And I got to keep something for myself. I got to. But I will show you the post-processing on this because if I turn all this stuff off, all these goodies off of here, if we go here and I select all, let me click this the right way. I'm going to group these one at a time because I don't lose my mind. Wait, look at all this. Let's click on you. Let's combine you. Come on. So let's turn all these bad boys off now, right? Take everything, group it up. This is going to be that growl. I'm going to show you the post-processing. It's the least I can do. Here we go. Ready? What the fuck is that? It sounds like someone literally had a Hershey squirt just then. What is that? All from the post right there. So you can basically use anything you want. So the patch isn't even important. So don't even stress about it, all right? Don't stress about it. Why are you holding the sauce? I'm just gonna hide it. I'm sorry, but let's take a look at this. Let's turn off this. Even the serum effects isn't that needed because it's still fucking fire. It's all coming from the massive amount of OTT going on here with this chorus, as well as this phaser here. I have a lot of OTT stacked on this little fucker. So we have OTT. Oh, so if anyone that doesn't know, I should probably explain because some of you probably don't. Some of you probably don't. Maybe some of you don't know me. Some of you might not have seen the last one I've done. I take credit for inventing this combination because I've shown so many people this in like 2013. OTT Camel Crusher combo. Swag.adg was the original name. I use Camel Crusher on almost everything, bass or synth, in conjunction with OTT because Camel Crusher will, use the master side of it. I set this British clean preset here. It's going to normalize it and just have it peak at 0 or peak at the top. So now everything's kind of chilling at the same level. No one's, louder than the other. Everyone's kind of chilling because, OTT in general, you throw OTT on something, it's going to make it a little bit quieter. Because, everything's getting so chunky with the compression. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Whenever everything's at the same even playing field, you just gotta level it, and that's my whole mixdown process. It's all just leveling, It's all just, hey, I'm gonna level this, I'm just gonna lower this one, bring this one down -4, -5, however loud or quiet it should be. But yeah, you guys are saying wow and holy shit, and I think I don't even remember when I said what I said because this stream is so delayed for the chat, so I'm trying to think back to what I said. But I like personally doing it that way because everything just becomes a whole leveling game. So I have a couple of these bad boys stacked on here. Yeah, basically I kind of use it as a soft clipper in a way, yeah. So I have one set here, and then I have some phaser action because, doing a lot of the work on terms of getting that vowel aspect out of it. And then I have another set of OTT Camel Crusher. And guess what? That's right, another set of Camel Crusher with the OTT. But it doesn't sound too OTT'd out, that's the thing. Like it doesn't sound too much like it because the original sound is so bare bones. So it sounds fine. If your sound coming out of your VST, out of your synth is a little fucked, then then it's a whole other story. And yes, it does act as a limiter. Yes, you're right. It does. So if I go back in here now and we have all this turned on, let's turn on the serum effects here. I just have a little bit of comb filter going on in here. A little bit of combs. Just have a little bit of fun. I just pick a random fucking frequency that works. This one, that one worked. We have it set at 78. So I can do maybe like 50 or something. I don't know, whatever I want. The main boy is that oil filter. You want to boost that resonance like crazy. Get that cue going. That boom. Ready? Look at that. So much fun there. And if I bring this back to like 78 or whatever it was at, you get closer to that original sound. Really cool stuff. You could use anything on there. I could probably copy paste this with my voice and it would sound cool. Should we try it? I think we should try it. Yeah, I can only see like the last 6 or so. Oh, the Hershey squirt comment. Yeah, that's definitely it. Forgot about that. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm actually gonna. Hopefully, this doesn't fuck my whole project by doing this. We'll see. I'm taking risks right now with you guys. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just go in here and let's just go like. There we go. Oh, it's so delayed. Let me. Oh, bless you, babe. My girlfriend's in the corner. All right, so now it should be. There we go. Cool. There we go. What is this? So we're taking this vocal here. That wow. You guys can have that. Let's get a bruh. I can go over the top. Yes. OT. I'll go over that in 2 seconds. I just want to see if we can replicate a really cool growl with the same rack on here. Are there some guidelines considering finishing a mix and getting ready for a master? No, honestly, no. Well, technically, yeah. The main guidelines I have for my songs, and this is going to be different for everybody else, is going to be my kicks sit around 0, sometimes even 1 over. I know, crazy. And then some of them will sit even like higher at like 2, and then my subs sit at like excuse me, -6, -7, -8 decibel, somewhere around there. As long as my tracks specifically have those kind of levels going on from the sub and the kick, then I know I'm on the right track to getting my stuff done. So let's see here. Oh, we're getting some progress here. So we have that. Sounded pretty cool. We're gonna take this now. We're gonna drop it down an octave. Oh, down. Oh. There you go. You get a little bit extra distortion going on in there. Get some overdrive involved or something. Ooh, you're already on your fucking way with this, dude. Synth sitting, usually around, it depends, -2, sometimes -3. Sometimes if they're sitting away in the background, it could be like even lower. Look at that. That's just me fucking saying, there you go. So there you go. There's that. There's a free ticket. So on this growl specifically, I wanted to point out the time situation like someone asked. I have the time set to 1,000 on this first one, and as well as the other, the second one, but not the third one. All the time, you know what it's going to do? It's kind of, I like to look at it as kind of like a secondary gate where it's going to just tighten things up just a slight bit. I don't think it's that necessary, but I do think it could be useful. On most of my basses, I actually don't use it. I only had it on this growl, and I'm not exactly sure why. But I want to show you some leveling stuff right here. So these synths, some of these don't have OTT. This this main pad does have the OTT Camel Crusher on it. So this one is sitting at 0. But for the things that don't, like this flattened pad here, or this whistle type of sound, or the pluck, these are sitting a little quieter, -6, -5, -8, something sitting around there. That way, you know, because when you have the OTT on there, you know, it's gonna just fucking brick wall and squish everything into one little spot. So it's gonna be a little bit easier, but without it, you know, having it too loud, you can start to hear it start to get a little distorted, a little choppy, a little too soon if it's a little bit too loud. So I like just, you know, bringing those down a little quieter. But if I go back and I show you like the bass for this bass, if I go to the actual section here, sitting at -2. It starts off at -8 during the build up, just because I didn't want it to be too loud and, you know, build that energy. But this bass here, it is flattened to audio. I also normally don't do that, but the 2 songs I am showing you today, I do flatten to audio because of something called OTT. Because the fucking feedback issues are insane. Like, if I take this and I cut here, not only OTT but also comb filters. I don't know how many of you experienced this. Have you ever used the comb filter inside of Serum and then your whole fucking sound is like offset slightly? You know, there's 2 ways you can fix that if you guys haven't found a fix around that, or if there's a better fix you guys can tell me about. The 2 ways I like to do it is either flattening it, which is a little bit longer process, or I already know by heart now from experience with using combs. I just enable this little fucker in the right hand corner here, and it's you can just change your delay now, and you could just be like, all right, track delay, and I could be like, in my personal experience of producing, everything's sitting around -30 to -40. That's where my comb filter like usually delays me, and then everything's gonna be on beat again, which is fucking sick. A lot easier than just flattening it. But I do have the sound actually here, just in case I want to go back and change things. But you can hear some of these clicks because of, you know, the release on certain sounds, and the OTT starts making everything really loud. So I want to just kind of have a little bit more control, cut everything off where I needed to. So I went to audio for this one. But how come you have OTT then Camel Crusher and not vice versa? Well, because OTT is going to make it quieter. Like, so here, look, here's the whole point. When you have OTT on something, it's gonna instantly just drop the volume just a good little bit here. Let me see if I can actually turn this, if I can unfreeze this without my CPU deciding to take a shit when I record and stream. It's weirdly higher pitched there. That's interesting. So we have this, right? I'm going to turn all this off. Let's go here. Here's the OTT Camel Crusher. So you know what? If I actually have the output on this boosted to all fucking hell too, but let's pretend like let's just move this and take this here. Ready? If I switch this, I don't know if you can hear this through your speakers at all, but there's definitely a volume difference that I don't like. And I can go in, I can just now take, my volume output, or I can go and take some utility and throw it on there. But why would I do that if OTT is already going to be on there and I can just have the Camel Crusher after it? And it's literally all this Camel Crusher is going to be doing, besides adding a little bit of distortion, is it's going to just basically maximize it, which is perfect. And that's what I want, because the way I mixed everything down, it's just going to be, everything is leveled at the same, and I could just kind of pick and choose where everything's going to sit from there. Yeah, OTT does give it color. You're right. But I personally am a fan of just having everything as leveled out as possible. That way it's easy in the mix down process, because my mix downs I run through, I do them very quickly. I don't have to ever think about it twice, for more than a couple minutes, personally at least. But the processing on this bass too, really interesting stuff. I want to actually see if I can. You can hear some extra width coming out of this corpus here, which is really fucking cool. Almost kind of like a chorus in a way, but it's corpus, which I have this corpus just being routed into itself here with the tube selected here. But we're going to go over corpus in that other track here in a couple of minutes. I do want to skip over to the second drop before we head over to the second song, where I can dive into corpus a little bit more and some other techniques with other things. Are you guys enjoying this so far, by the way? I need to know. Do you guys hate me? How are you guys feeling? How do I go about my ear candy fills? I don't have ear candy fills. That's the whole. No, they won't be actual. Like, it depends on what you mean by fills, I guess. Because for me, my ear candy is having a square beep on the 3 of every song I do, just like that, or having random atmospheric vocal beds that are being kind of slowly auto panned into a track. You guys are enjoying this. You love my personality. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But yeah, I feel that. I feel it. This is a great response right now. First workshop. I love it. Wow, thank you. I love you. I love you too, Dominic. I see. I already know who you are. You're always very supportive of me. But I want to jump over to this second drop real quick. All right, guys. You guys stop complimenting me. Guys, stop. Come on, cut it out. Second drop here. I made this very last minute because the track also didn't have, when I pitched it to Excision, it didn't have a second drop. I literally gave this to him as like a 1 minute DJ tool. I was like, hey, you guys want this? I can finish it up. So I need a second drop. And I actually had something sitting around that I made as a joke with the Remy Boys vocal. You guys know, like, this fucking vocal, like, like fucking Fetty Wap, It's fucking clipping. I had that on there originally as a joke, and I made this chord progression, this drop here. A lot of stuff going on here. A lot of layering. We have this low boy. Let me play it for you actually real quick so you can hear it. Turn on this bass section again too. Which is a really cool, really fun, really fun little time here. I really like that there's a fake out, but it's not like a fake out like a late drop. It's like an actual fake out. You start off with that original drop as you did in the first drop here. It's like, and then I just have it repeating here. which the only thing that was being transferred, there's actually no pitch actually happening, was frequency shifting with the fine tune as well, like I said last time, as well as paired with that easy washout to kind of give it that nice room to breathe. All right, I have that lead coming in. Some cool stuff going on here. We have this low boy, like I was saying, and this low one is just a Spire preset that I found that I thought sounded really nice, with the cutoff all the way open, as well as the OTT Camel Crusher combo. Now I know you're wondering what. Ableton straight up crashed on me. That's fucking amazing. Don't worry, we're gonna reopen it right now. It'll be totally fine. In the meantime, let me answer some of your quick questions. That reduced ambience that was sitting on there was, in fact, it's there for vocals mainly, and I just copy paste that rack onto basically every bass now because it's like the updated version. It's not going to really change too much about what you're working on, so it's not really a requirement. It's just the OTT Camel Crusher that does it. But I wanted to show you some stuff about these sounds. If I can get this project back open, I just opened up Ableton again. Sorry about that. But do I have any automations for your bass? Which bass were you referring to? We're gonna find out when I open this back up. I want to spend only about 5 more minutes on here before I switch over to the second track. But it depends. Some of my basses I do have automation on. The melodic drop is my favorite part of the song. Thank you so much. I had a fun time, making the melodic part. I think it's one of my favorite melodic drops I've done. Someone asked earlier too how I got this on Subsidia. I work closely, I feel like, enough with Excision. I'm constantly sending him songs to play out. He's always very supportive, so I have a direct contact there. But so him and his team reached out before, dude. So to be honest, none of the artists knew. I kind of knew. I had a feeling because it was just I'm like a fucking detective with things, so I was piecing things together. But they didn't tell any of us it was gonna be for a label. They just said it was like a new project he was working on, which is why I put it together. That must have been a label because they told me it was a comp, and I was like, okay, well, it's not Lost Lands because they would have said it's Lost Lands. So I was like, just it must be a new label thing. That's cool. So they asked if we had anything, so I sent over a couple different options. They wanted everything that I sent over, but I was only willing to kind of commit to one song at the time because I want to kind of check out what they're doing first. So I was like, okay, well, actually, I can't give you all these. I'll give you this one. They're like, cool, let's do it. And they sent over a contract. It was really cool. It was a fun time. It was really easy. The growl you were doing, there was no automation on the growl except for the automation on the post-processing. That was the auto filter. That was the only single thing that had any type of automation on that growl. The growl was literally just sitting there though. Otherwise, I'm hoping this project gets to open quicker because I don't want to spend too much time waiting on it. I need to do a collab with Must Die. I would love to do that so much. I think we've talked about it before once or twice, but we might have to do it again. We'll have to talk about it again soon. Ooh, processing on my sub. I will definitely show you guys that. I'm excited to show you that actually because I do my subs unconventionally, at least I think. Can we expect an Excision collab? I fucking hope so. That would be sick. Did they tell you it would be more mellow than its usual stuff? No, they were like, yo, do you have like, I sent them that and they're like, okay, well, do you have like a heavy track and do you have a melodic track too? So I had a feeling it was going to be like 3 different things going on. But I just wanted to commit to one at the time. Okay, cool. The project's actually just now opening. So let's bounce back over to Ableton. Cool. Make sure that this is good. I'm going to just check. Let's see if you guys can hear this. Well, that come through? That did come through. Perfect. Got a free ticket out of the giveaway. Fuck yeah. Excited for you to go next year. Kind of off topic. Do you have any advice on staying motivated and productive? It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to stay productive. But, the things I like to do is I like to not force it at all. I love to just not force making music at all because my best work comes that way. The one thing I like to push is every time I'm in Ableton, I would really prefer if I can make some type of chord progression, some type of lead progression, not an actual sound. I can do it with any type of preset, any type of Spire, Omnisphere sound. I'll just go in, make some type of melody, something there. That way, in a couple of days, couple of weeks, I have a bunch of options to look at, and I'm like, ooh, this one, I like this one a lot. I have an idea, and I can bounce off of it. That's the most I like to do. I try to take breaks as much as I can, even if it's a while. Sometimes I go through fucking situations where I'm just gaming for an entire week and I don't fucking touch Ableton, and that's okay. Like, that's totally okay. Yes, you're right, Alex. Very on-topic question. it's okay to, get in droughts and just kind of hang out, because your brain's constantly working in the background. It only becomes a problem if you just don't have that drive anymore. But that's a whole different story that I personally don't know how to help with, because I think I've always had this drive for this past 10 years of working on music. But yeah, new song dropping in an hour. That's true. I have my Millennium remix coming out tonight, which we can have a little listening party at the end of this. If you stick around till the end, I will do we'll listen to it together. I want to go through the second drop with you before we jump over the second track, because I don't want to waste. I'm already over the halfway point at this point. Let's go here. We have this low boy. No automation that's going on here except on the main group, which we can go over in a second. But we have that low boy, and then over here we have this low phase. Or just another Spire sound here with the cutoff all the way open. Otherwise, there's no automation. Same thing going on here with this low super saw, which is, if I can. Just the same thing. There's a frequency shifter on there. I know you're looking at it. I'm scared to unfreeze this. Okay, it's turned off. The one thing that the frequency shifter, that the reason it was even on there, this might be helpful for you guys to check out. If I turn this on, check it out. Listen to that cool difference there. Isn't that fucking cool? Because I feel like that's fucking cool. Sometimes on my chord progressions on my pads, I'll actually take a frequency shifter, and because the way that it's set up, even if it's at default, if you set the dry wet, it starts to phase, and you get some interesting results, which I personally think Skrillex has done a couple times on like 2U and other songs like that. I mean, I don't have confirmation of that, but it definitely sounds like it to me that there's some type of phasing going on there with the frequency shifter. That's just a default one. Also really good using that on growls. Using that shit on growls, ooh, that's amazing. Are these all different octaves with the layers? I don't know exactly. I haven't checked this in a second. It looks like, yeah, they're all about the same. They're definitely all hitting around the same. They're just there for different types of kind of sounds that will help bring it in a full spectrum. So like, they're all definitely the same octave when I think about it. I swear the way I explain shit, sometimes it sounds like I don't fucking make my own music, but I swear to God I do. But these three layers just help fill up your sound in a nice way where it feels like it's nice and home and ground in. And I know you're wondering where's that, that wobbling coming from. I'll tell you right now, it's coming from this auto pan. Excuse me. The auto pan here, I like using an auto pan to make LFOs because I just find it to be easier, and I prefer it personally to just using the Max for Live LFO or making an LFO inside of a synth, especially when there's multiple layers involved. It's so much easier to just have this whole group here and have it set. So I have it set to sine, and I have the phase all the way down. The phase being all the way down is what gives it the actual LFO, because without it, if it's at 180, that's when it's going to start bobbing back and forth. Which I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the difference coming through on this stream if it comes out in stereo or mono. But dropping the phase all the way down will then give it that wobble. And I just set the offset to 180. Sometimes you have to shift that, though, because I was actually talking to Alex about this when I did the test stream. Sometimes when you're using Lil Alter Boy and you have an auto pan on it, something gets fucked up and then it delays it over, and then you have to take the offset here and you need to shift it to match. It's very interesting. Do I have any EQ work on these layers? No. So I was talking about this earlier. I don't do any of that shit. My EQ work is very limited. Here's the EQ on this. Ready? There it is. The entire second drop group. Cut off at 100. Strict cut. That's it. That's all I do. I personally am not a believer in I think over EQing is such an issue. I think that you're creating holes in your mix. Most people that do it, at least. I hear some songs, I'm like, oh man, what's going on here? This song sounds great. My personal opinion. I don't know. Maybe that's like not the right thing to say, like when you made your own song. I think that this song sounds full. I think that the mix is great. I think the master is great. I think everything sounds great about it. Like if you hear it, everything's good, but look at the minimal amount of EQ work on here. If it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. I have an EQ 8 at 100 here, and then on my, if I even go to the cymbals here, check out the cymbal second drop. There's an EQ. There's nothing actually happening. I have it on there because I wanted to show you. If you look, there's no reason to cut these off at 400, 500 because there's nothing even hitting in that range, because I just pick samples out. I handpick my like samples. Like I use my crash, for example, and some of my samples from my sample pack, where I pre-EQ that shit, so that way you don't have to worry about it. I try to speed up this process of producing as much as possible, not because I like taking shortcuts, but I like to be as productive as I can when I'm working. So I want to, I have ideas and I don't want to lose them. I'm trying to work as fast as I can and run through it, because I just want to jot it all down. So not having to sit and think about like, okay, fuck, let me throw an EQ on here and let me like sit here and figure out, okay, is this, no, everything's gone now. Okay, it's good now. I don't have to think about any of that. It's just a lot easier. But that's just kind of the way I kind of run things with that. We're gonna go over subs in the second song. Don't worry, I want to save that for the second one. I just want to show you the other layers here before we head off onto the second song. Briefly met you after your set at Future in New Zealand. Oh fuck yeah, it was great meeting you then. I was literally just thinking about that show. It was sold out that night. Same night as Blank, who's like, he's Australian, but close enough and home to where I was honored to be able to sell out that show the same night as him. I forgot where he was playing. He was playing somewhere else. We had a meeting up after at the airport, but that was a really, really fun show. I had a great time there. The 3 lead layers here, we have this pad, which acts as a lead layer, as well as this. And if you take a look, these are all the same kind of situation here with the OTT Camel Crusher. The only difference here is I have the auto pan specifically on this extra, because you'll see coming up towards the end here, I have this kind of divvying out. So I have the mains where the auto pan set. But I wanted that lead to continue on. But I couldn't have the lead continue to have that auto pan if I had this low boy in the background. So I had it set separately on here. That way it would just kind of open up there, and everything would kind of turn on as soon as the other one turned off, so it was able to catch itself, if that makes any sense at all. But those are 2 of the main leads here. This one's an Electra X random preset that I found. Electra X is a really cool VST. It's a synth from Tone 2, and they made Gladiator, if you guys know Gladiator. So this is a random one. You can actually hear similar sounds. This one is like, what is it, like dirty, what was it, fucking like angry saws? It's like very similar. And all those layers together. Okay, why cut off at 100? Sub bass stops at 60. Cutting it off at 60 for me, and the way that my sounds run, does not sound, it's getting a little too muddy. When you have that matched up with my sub here, it starts to get a little too muddy, personally. See that? Especially right there. You can hear it start to crunch a little bit compared to, the crunch goes away when it's at 100. Also, why not? I like doing it this way. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe Kit covers that difference between 60 to 100. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. I have no idea what you're saying. See, that's the thing. I don't understand any of that. Synth is called Electra X. It's Electra 2 sometimes. I don't know. I bought it and it's Electra X in Ableton. You can see right here. But if I open it up, see, it's fucking strange. If you Google it and shit, it's like Electra 2. It's like, what's going on here? Tone 2, Electra 2. What's going on there, huh? X is not 2. X is 10. But yeah, see, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. When you start getting all crazy with the frequencies, I don't fucking know what's going on. My music, my knowledge is this sounds good to me. And that's the way I like to work, personally. But in the meantime, we're going to jump off of this song and we're going to go over to the next song, which is Break It Down, which let me get that loaded up for you guys. And in the meantime, let's answer some questions. I think that's the way to kind of run things. So ask me some stuff. It could be about the song. It could be about me, whatever you guys want. And your Save Me track, those growls and the drops sound like they're talking. Can you go over the basis of how those sounds are created? They give me goosebumps, lol. I've been struggling to figure out how to create growls, screeches. So in Save Me, are you talking about just like the second drop? Or are you talking about like the main kind of bass that's just kind of attacking each section? You see, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. But yeah. Let me scroll back up. I know there's a couple things I want to go back to and listen and read. When do I know when to automate a sound? It doesn't really work that way. It's not knowing when to do it. It's just kind of feeling it out specifically and being like, yeah, this is a good idea. or this isn't. It just kind of depends on how I'm humming that drop, you know? If I'm listening to a song and I'm working on a drop and I have one sound, I start thinking of patterns automatically. So I'll be like, you know, ba-da-bum-bum, ba-da-ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum. I'm like, okay, well, now I know I need to automate the LFO on that. So it just kind of depends. It's a really case-by-case situation. It just depends on what I'm working on. How old am I? Am I full-time producer? Yes, I make music full-time. I've been working music full-time since 2017, so 3 years, and I am 23 years old. I've been producing since I was 12. I started 10 years ago. I was almost 13 at the time, which is cool. Did I have any musical theory background when I started producing? No, and I still don't have too much musical theory background. I fucking don't know. I couldn't tell you what's in a scale. Oh, fuck no. Could not tell you what's in a scale. I can tell you something's in key, something's not in key. That's just because my ear, I'm just like, I trust my ears enough to be like, ah, that's off, you know? But, I don't have the project to overflow, unfortunately. I wish I did. That's on an old hard drive. I actually have the hard drive somewhere here. It's just completely dead. I tried getting it recovered at a couple different places, and I wasn't that lucky, unfortunately. Met me after I played at Sky. Fuck yeah, dude! I'm so glad I can be an inspiration. That really means a lot for sure. What's that floating in the background? Is it oh, is he talking about this? You're talking about this bad boy back here? That's my softbox. That's one of my studio lights. I have a couple. This isn't a studio light that you're seeing right now. That's just like my lamp. But I do have some softboxes, so that way I could set up for like taking press shots because I have a DSLR. I have a nice camera, which you guys can like see if I like zoom in and stuff. I'm like, ooh, hey, you know, I can do that type of stuff. And I have it set up through a cam link. And yeah, what's the idea in over my head? What do you mean the idea? The idea is just fun, unless like you have specific like other definition of idea. But let's jump in in the meantime. I want to check this out with you guys. This is Break It Down. By the way, I do want to point out on both songs, I do have the master set to like -8. That's just because it's a little bit too loud. I didn't want to go back into OBS and make you look at that. That's unprofessional. We're not about that. I did that in the beginning already once, so I just have it lowered here just so it's a little bit easier on your ears. But Break It Down, if you guys don't remember it, I put it out last year. Someone also asked if my Love Is Gone remix is out. It's not. That's not a Love Is Gone remix either. It's just a vocal I put on for the live shows. It's a single. It'll be on my next EP. And I do my mastering through myself. I've never let anybody touch my mixes or my masters. I produce everything myself. I do offer services though. I offer mix mastering services. I offer mix downs. I offer masters. I also do one-on-one sessions as well. If anyone's interested, you can just drop me a message after this.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
After this, but let's get into this before we waste too much time.
I don't wanna break it down. I don't wanna break it down.
Someone brought up ear candy earlier, and this is my ear candy. This fucking shit in the background. Yes, we can take a look at the master here at the end. Because this is this is a random quiet piece of fucking like audio that's barely involved, but you can barely hear it. And if I hear that in a track, I'm instantly more hooked because I love little details like that. That's my ear candy. Just having random vocal swells, anything that's sitting in the background, kind of just helping it kind of flow a little bit better. This is the main bass in this track. We're gonna go to the drop and then we'll go backwards from there. And I also flattened this one because there was a little bit too much on the releases here. Hear that? All from the OTT, so I wanted to get rid of that. And this is a really cool sound because this is the first time I fucked with the scream filter, because I made this as soon as Serum updated and they were like, yo, scream filter, we put it in here. And I'm like, whoa, fucking sick. So let's try it out. And I was also using Corpus for one of the first times as well. So it was all about trying new things at this point. This is the original sound. Hopefully my CPU can handle it. Let's find out. My CPU cannot handle it is what we're learning. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn off the Corpus here. And maybe I'm gonna freeze it for you guys. And while it freezes, I want to read some of your comments real quick, because I want to show you the difference that Corpus can make on a sound. Add some really interesting grit and texture to it, and it's just really cool. The intro for Banger Zone talking about Break It Down is amazing when you describe it. Yeah, I had a fun time when I was like, break it down. I can't even do it that fast. I don't know how I did it the first time. I did that in like 2 takes. Any tips on finding themes for a track when lacking ideas? That's why I really like to make a chord progression or a melody every single time I'm in Ableton, at least if I can. That way I have various ideas I can pull from. But if I'm struggling to do that and I'm just trying to find some type of theme, I think a good way to do it is just look around what you enjoy. You know, maybe you like playing Spider-Man. Make something that's off of off of that score, but don't obviously rip it, but like something that's inspired by it. Try to make bootlegs. I think that's always a really good start. Just bootleg something and then turn it into an original. If you bootleg something, you have a vocal that's already there and you can build around it, and it's so much easier to build something around something else, which is just the easiest way to start a new song. I've done it so many times. If we play this track, that's without the corpus, and here's that main difference again. Listen to the extra distortion, that grit, and that texture that's there. So different, all because of corpus. And the main thing that's driving that here is the fact that we have this corpus set to go back into itself. Some people like putting it into a different MIDI track. I like routing it directly into itself, setting the frequency to on. Now it's pulling those notes. And I usually use any of these bottom 3, plate, pipe, or tube. You can use beam, marimba, string, membrane, but those I think are better for having some extra harmonic kind of tonal frequency going on the higher end of things, where it's a little bit kind of like maybe like a melodic rhythm vibe or something, where you have some high pitched kind of sound kind of going in between notes. But when you're trying to just add distortion and grit, I like using plate, pipe, or tube. In this case, I used plate. You just drop the decay really low, and you can instantly get something really cool. I'm going to refreeze this, though, because I don't want to die with a CPU. It's really cool stuff. And actually, unfreeze it one more time. Other things that are on here, though, we do have a Serum Effects that's also doing a good amount of the work here. Listen to fucking that. Get rid of the corpus. Look at how different things start to sound with this. Serum Effects doing a little bit of that work, giving it that real comey tone to it, as usual, because I like throwing comb filter on everything. Let's see, let me go back. I'm scrolling through these comments real quick. I do offer one-on-one sessions on melodic music. I absolutely do. Anyone that's interested, you can drop me a DM. I do basically everything for one-on-ones. Which I can go through at the end here because I don't want to waste too much time promoting myself. Also, to say your inspiration to me. Thank you so much, Josh. Your intro to Get Up is an ominous sound and really gets me as a listener. Thank you. It's my girlfriend's favorite song that I've ever made is Get Up. Are those chord notes in a 4 measure than fill? I'm asking this correct. I don't know if I'm asking. Oh, okay. This melody, this pattern is very strange. So I know we're getting a little choppy there, but it's okay. So I'm just going to show you this. If I go here and I look at this serum here and I pull up the LFO rate, it's a little fucked. It's definitely, like, admittedly a little bit fucked. It's starting off at like quarter notes, and then there's these little chops that kind of come in here, and then we have this here, which sounds super off, but adding that corpus, you start getting some interesting results where, you can start getting some really cool kind of patterns out of it. I really wanted to make something a little bit Dr. Ozzy-ish, and I really wanted to kind of go in and just get something a little fast and a little weird. So that's why I started just kind of fucking around, and I started seeing what might sound good for this specifically. So I couldn't even tell you, but it does start off with the quarter notes, of course. Oh, let's start here. Oh. Whoa. Let me refreeze this now so that way it doesn't want to shit the bed on me. But yeah, you get some really interesting results. There you go. I noticed you are using one note on the MIDI. Will you go a bit onto the automation on the main synth? Oh, I already did. Yeah, there you go. That was perfect. How to go about creating flow. You know, like with this one, it was a matter of this one specifically is a matter of experimenting heavily. The flow, I think, is important where it has a little bit of repetitiveness. You don't want to change the motif too much because then it becomes a bit all over the place and you can't follow it as easily. So for this one specifically, changes, and then I want it to repeat for the second time. So it's 1, and then 2, back to 1, 2. But on this final one, because you know we're going in 4 bars, 4, 8, 16. When you want to follow that pattern of like measures and how phrases work, I wanted to change it a little bit to go into this end phrase, which just pitches down. Yeah, I come up with my drops on the spot. It's all about like what works, you know, like what sounds good to me in the moment. So what I like to do is I like to kind of start off with quarter notes. So it might just start off like something like this the entire time, right? It literally just might be this. And then, you know, I'll go in and I will start to mess around with LFO on Serum or whatever the case might be. Just something there, you know? That way I can start to get some interesting patterns out of it. But I like to start off with something really basic, like a quarter note, and then go from there. Have some fun with it. But like I said, you want to make sure it's kind of repetitive. You don't want super repetitive, but repetitive enough to kind of get it catchy. So after that end phrase, it's going to go back to the original pattern. But we change it up a little bit by, you know, if I unfreeze this and I show you exactly what's going on here. We go over to the, not only just the coarse pitch here, that's going to be boosting up. If I open up this patch and I show you guys can steal the patch, feel free. I can't play too much of it while it's open with it's unfrozen, but they are 2 analog wavetables. It's FMing from B with some sync. Get your screenshots ready. But I don't really do a lot of actual pitch bend automation. It's mainly coarse pitch because I personally am a believer that pitch bending sounds cheap as fuck. Main pitch bending of the actual Serum VST, I think it sounds really cheap. I think that if you do it through one of the oscillators only with coarse pitch, it sounds a lot better. I would show you specifically, but I don't want my CPU to die. Actually, I might be able to do it if I turn off Serum effects. Let me see if I can actually show you. Cool. So if I take this and perfect, I'm glad this is working because I really want to show you this actually. Let's say we have this cleared envelope, right? Right, now let's take this pitch bend and we do it inside of here. Let me start turning off corpus. Let me turn off Serum effects. I really want the CPU to stay with me for this because I really want to show you how cheap it sounds, truly. I don't know. You don't need to. You can hear even with the CPU fuckery that it's just not that good. Versus, you know, having it set to just one oscillator, being the oscillator that's it's FMing from. So, you know, we're FMing from B. So having B have that coarse pitch situation going on here, you get so much more like out of it because the fact of the matter is one of the oscillators is going to be pitching while the other one is staying at that root note. And what that does is it creates this really interesting kind of tone where you can hear that root note and you can feel that root note. You can, you know, it's sitting at D sharp or E flat, whatever you want to call it, while the other one's just fucking going wild, and it creates this really awesome, you know, tone to the sound that, you know, I feel like you can't really get properly out of just a normal pitch bend. That's why I think pitch bend sounds cheap on its own. I think if we're going to be doing pitch bending at all, it should be coarse pitch specifically. I wish Massive definitely, they do have it with you could do the same thing. I wish other plugins had it though, is what I'm saying, like a Spire or some other ones for synths. But yeah, that's how I kind of run around with pitch and stuff like that, which I bring the pitch up here. So it's pretty repetitive at this point, but I want to change it up for this final section before the drop ends. So it's mainly going from the drum pattern. Having the drums kind of just really make it stand out, so it's kind of like it's, oh shit, something's building here in a way. having those kicks and snares hit like that really help bring this sense of, especially with the effects and the cymbals around it stopping, without just doing a standard, some drops will end with a build, like the kicks just adding up or something like that. But in this case, they're stopping suddenly and then it's going and it's stopping. It's kind of like, oh shit, what's going on? And it helps kind of build that energy similarly to how a build up would, which helps because it leads us into this little break section. Same growls earlier. Which, same thing as in the last song where we had on the pre-drop, we had that interesting tone that the delay was giving off, which is just due to, I have all these random effects on here, don't even worry about those. If I can find it, it's right here. You set your delay to time, you have it really short. In this instance, I have it set to 9 milliseconds. Real big difference. Sounds like shit. The delay does so much on that. Combo with the OTT Camel Crusher, of course. The other main thing that you might have just heard there was this frequency shifter in the build, which is just really useful for your build-ups. Anything to help kind of add some type of emulation of pitch that you don't actually have to take it and consolidate it and pitch it up, and it just adds an extra little detail there that really, I think personally, is really nice. All that's under this though for the first little bit is that sub, which I use massive for my subs. All right, don't kill me. I do a lot of one-on-ones sessions with people, and a lot of them don't have massive, and I don't know how, because massive is like, I need that shit to survive. Which, if you look at this, it's a slightly modified version of what I usually do. Just a sine, have a low pass on here, some sine shaper. There's feedback like going like hell on here, which is one of my keys to my subs. And I have a lot of release on this as well. That way it just sounds nice and open, and it's just fucking punching with every hit. Paired with that saturator, of course. And as like I was saying earlier, my subs are sitting around -8, -6, -7, -8, somewhere around there on most of my tracks. That's the way I know that I'm going in the right direction. But the main sub I do want to bring up from the first drop, so I can go over this with you. This is actually one of the older ways one of the older ways I was doing my subs. But the main thing I like to do in here is, especially with these fast LFO hits, you have almost the same thing. The feedback's down on this one, but I do have an envelope on the pitch here, and it's kind of emulating like an 808 in a way, because it's giving it that punch, but I only really want it in certain aspects. So if I take this, I like to do this in a lot of my songs now, where maybe it's not on the first hit, but maybe it'll be on the second. So if I drop this down, I'll be like, so now I only want the punch to be on those fast hits. That way it adds punch. Like right here, like imagine this without that punch. Let's take this and let's unsolo it and listen. And then let's bring up that. Listen to that extra punch that just comes the fuck in. It's so fucking cool. What do you think could recreate the feedback effect if someone didn't have massive? See, I've recreated the sub pretty closely inside of Serum, which I would honestly just recommend using some type of distortion from Serum. Just some type of any like tube distortion or like a hard clip or something like that. Anything in there that should do the trick, because it's at the end of the day, it's really just pushing it like way past its limits, and so it's kind of similar to just distorting it. So that's a way that you can do it. But I actually don't make my subs like this anymore. I do want to run through for anyone that does use massive. I will show you how I do my subs now, because my subs sound fucking thick because of the way that I do it. I'm gonna open up the preset and we're gonna go through it, because I do it slightly differently. I actually put bright noise on my subs, which is fucking. Putting noise on a sub might sound weird, but I personally really recommend it because I think it adds a lot of texture to your sound in really interesting ways. So if I take this, oh, so there we go. Listen to how fucking fat that is. Fucking. So obviously this is way too loud in this situation right here. But let's go ahead and let's bring that envelope back on there, like in the song. Having that bright noise on here gets really fucking cool results. And that's how I do all my subs now. Just a quick little take a look at it. It's the same exact sub nearly as the other version. It just one has a little bit of bright noise. Again, it's a sine shaper. The intensity is only sitting halfway. I have a low pass on here, and I have a little bit of sine shaper going on here. Tri wets at the halfway point, and a little bit of on the drive. Mainly get the feedback at that bright noise doing a lot of the work. Okay, see the upper left. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let me move that over. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys pointing that out. But it's literally just down. This one's down -12 because that's how I had it. You can have it wherever. It's not going to affect anything. The pitch envelope is what's going to do a lot of the work here. Make sure you automate where your level's sitting if you want to have that punch. If I were to drop that all the way down, obviously there's no punch now. Just depends if you want that punch or not. A quick and easy automation that you can just add inside of your tracks, which is really cool. But feel free to screenshot that. Feel free to copy that. Whatever you guys want to do. What is the envelope pitch set to? 64. I have it set all the way up. All the way up on this track. But that's just how I have it for the the punch, which is not needed. It's just needed if you want that extra hit for those fast LFOs. Anything that's like 16th notes could be really, 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 really impressive. Do I EQ the noise in post-processing, or I leave it as is, sits as is? This sub, that's like with the saturator at 13 decibels with the analog clip, soft clip turned on. That's literally all that's on there. There's an auto pan on here by default with my rack in case I want to add an LFO, but it's not actually doing anything, so don't even worry about it. I really try to use a lot of stock stuff if I can. I love Ableton, man. It's a fun fucking program. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. Let's move on over to let's see here, over here. So I actually ended up consolidating this because I wanted to pitch it up. I actually found that. Let me show you the original vocal too, so you can hear what I did with it. That's the original vocal.
I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down. I don't want to break it down. No, I don't want to break it down.
Yeah, I can run through and recreate that here with you in a second. This vocal is very bare. I went ahead and I went in and I just did some little alter boy formant and pitch control. Dropped it 1 semitone, dropped the formant down. I get a 5. If I had it up, so it sounded a little weird.
I don't want to break it down. I don't want to break it down. I don't want to break it down. I don't want to break it down.
And that matched up with that tonal delay. Get some really interesting results. But really quickly, I will give you as close as I can. I haven't cracked it completely at this point, making this exact sub inside of Serum. But if I were to make something very similar, I could show you. How do I decide what key I'm going to make the track? Ooh. So I just make stuff in D sharp or E flat as much as I can because that's mostly what I play out. On occasion, I'll make something in C sharp or D. But I try to stick around those lower keys. I think that they hit the heaviest on any system. And also, my singing range for when I sing on my songs is like B. So I'm usually pitching up 3 semitones and having it that high pitched kind of style. So I usually try to stick around there so it's not overly high for whatever reason. But if I go into Serum here, option paralysis real, keep decisions to a minimum, stay in the flow. Yep. I try to just fucking run through shit. It's so much easier if you don't overthink. People overthink so fucking crazily. Yeah. Can I go over a sub? I just went over the sub. We're gonna go over it in Serum though, so let's run through it. I don't like using the when I'm making a sub in Serum, I'm not gonna use just the actual sub oscillator. I do use it on patches, but not for when I'm making an actual sub, just to have a little bit more control of what's going on. So we're gonna go to the basic shapes and we're gonna throw on a little sine boy. And we're also gonna go ahead, I'm gonna copy over this saturator. So this is a saturator, like I said, it's set to analog clip and it's got 13 decibels on the drive, soft clip on. So we already got something nice and thick. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some noise. direct out it. And we're gonna just go into like an air can, boost that pitch up. Maybe something around there. That sounded pretty good. Phases down. Turn your rands down. Your rands down. Your faces down. Your faces. So you can leave it as is like that. That's an option. Or you can kind of go a little bit further. You could drop your level here. You could throw an LFO on it. And then bring that down to about halfway or something. Set it to trigger. And then why don't you boost the fuck out of it. And you can just move your actual LFO, your shape, however you want. But you get some really cool... Get some cool stuff going on here. And then if you want to get that pitch situation going on here, all you have to do, take a free envelope and then boost the fuck out of that bitch. Go over to your matrix. I put it on the chorus pitch, by the way. And you take it, you just click it, you just go on here. You set this to one way. Ooh, that's fucking loud. Let's see here. Go ahead and we're gonna drop our sustain here. And we're gonna bring this up now. So how high you want to bring this in Serum is going to be a little bit different to Massive. For anyone that's confused at all I did was I took this envelope that was free. I used to use the second one. I throw it on the chorus pitch. I go over to my matrix. I make sure it's set to just going one way. Just that way, it's just, it's not going to go bounce back and forth. I have it set to the chorus pitch. I didn't have to touch any of this though. And it's a matter of just making a pluck with your envelope and then figuring out where you want this to lie. Because the higher this goes, it's gonna get really high. I think for what you're getting, that punch, doing something at 30 or 40 is gonna get you what you need. Now we're just gonna drop that decay really short. Maybe even drop it down to like 20, 30. That's pretty good. And that's gonna get you what you need. You can maybe, yeah, drop your fucking attack on there too. And now from here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of distortion inside of Serum. See what sounds nice. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Love it. Let's go with like maybe a hard clip. Maybe some tube. At this point, it's up to you, experimenting, trying to find what sounds nice to you. But you're gonna get a very similar result out of that. Because I haven't cracked how to get it completely sounding like the original 2019 sub preset that I did in Massive. But that's a pretty close, kind of copy. Speaking of subs, though, real quick, something off topic in a way. Just downloaded this plugin, just bought it. It's $40 right now because for early adopter. It's called Sublab. Holy fuck, dude. Listen to this shit. What the fuck? What? Let's get bruh for that.
Bruh.
What? Bruh. Wait.
Bruh.
What the fuck is that? Dude, holy shit. You go through these, dude? Incredible. Check out the shit I made in here. Let me show you. I made basses in this thing, dude. It's a fucking sub plugin. I made basses in this shit. Listen to this. I just made this. It might be so loud. I hope this doesn't crash the fucking app. I know I make most of my basses in Serum. Sometimes I'll go back into Massive for my growls, but that's about it. Ready? Oh shit, let's lower the volume just slightly. Look at this fucking sound I made in here, dude. You get some really cool things. It's sounding a little bit choppy. That's only because it's coming out of a screen recording. And every time I share my screen with this app, it starts to fucking bug. But if I were to take this and I were to play a note and then I take and I automate this, I want to freeze it and show you how smooth it actually sounds and how cool it sounds. Let's see here. Let's do a... So let's take the frequency. Let's take this. Can I automate? Is this automating already? I don't know if it is. I don't think that is. Let's find out. Let's see here. So cool. So if I freeze this really quickly, that way you can hear it not sound choppy, you get some really cool results. Absolutely recommend that. It's $40 right now. Look up fucking Sublab. So play it. So you can hear that smoothness there. Really cool stuff you can get out of that. Absolutely recommend. Do I still make? I already answered that. Where did I get that waves? Like the waves in here? This is just out of just the synth section here. I don't even know what the wave section is necessarily, to be honest. I think it's like an extra fucking like layer. I literally just got this today, so I don't even know how the fuck it works. I just made it around. Yeah, Future Audio Workshop, they're the one that makes it. Yes, they also have a thing called Circle, I think, as well out. Oh, there's promo code. That's fucking sick. If you know it, and share it. But yeah, I love that shit. Any tips to get your drops to flow with the intro and build? I feel like my drops always sound random. It's all about trying to match that energy and also trying to match the styles. It comes down to trying to think about it in a way where it is its own movie inside of a universe. Like, this has to have a story in some way. Even tracks, even like not songs, like just banger tracks like this one, it has a story still at the end of the day. If I go back through this, I have these Omnisphere synths that go out through here, like this random pluck one, this Omnisphere fucking random like deep ass pad, and I want it to kind of lead into something, so what do we have it lead into? It just comes down to if I hit solo too many times on here. It's all about getting sure that matches that kind of pacing and stuff. So in this one, you can hear, besides those bum boom bum bum boom bum bum boom boom, you have these interesting. Under that, you have this really fast synth, kind of, in a way. You hear how fast the higher notes in that kind of whip right back down? Kind of like fucking pendulum in a way, or kind of some like older school fucking electro type shit. So it's that matched up with, having this. Firstly, we have, let's see, you have this vocal here, which is already a fast pace, right? It's like, I don't want to break it down, ba 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 ba. And then we go to the effects section here. Fuck the riser. We have this. That's so fast to give you that kind of anxiety, that fast-paced nature, which helps you give the vibe of where the drop needs to go. So from there, you're kind of like, oh shit, okay, this needs to be a faster paced drop. Like, this needs to be kind of a little hectic. So now it's like, oh, what the fuck was that? Oh, is that the Sublab that just went in? Oh shit, that's kind of sick, to be honest. VIP, here we go. And if you hear, I actually still have that weird thing in the background of the drop. So having some type of element from your build or your intro into your drop that's in the background can help also set the stage of where that drop should go in terms of the flow. That way that they work together and they complement each other well. So we have that. I had a clock at one point, but I got rid of it, so now it's just that. Helps kind of set the tone, set the stage of where it should be sitting. I think that's like the best way to kind of go about it. Really just don't try not to overthink it, but try to just, make sure things just match in a nice way. It's kind of like, look at it like you're putting on clothes, You're not gonna, you ever see somebody wearing red t-shirt, blue jeans? You're like, what are you doing? I'm sorry. If you're wearing red t-shirt and blue jeans right now, I'm sorry. But come on. Looking like Superman over here, Spider-Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you want to use colors in your outfits that complement each other nicely in a way. So you want to do the same thing with your music. I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah. Fucking, I'm glad that can help. Oh, $32 is even better. Fuck, I should have got the fucking promo code. How to stop overthinking while still grinding. I want to bring more to the song and I end up stuck in a loop. Okay, so this is what you gotta do. Literally, stop. Like, I know it's so much easier said than done, but you have to stop giving a shit. Like, the sooner you stop caring, the like the better like off you're gonna be. It's so hard. I struggled so hard with this for a long time, but I think a really good way to do this, and it's unhealthy as fuck. I want to preface this. Do this. You know, if you do this, I'm not legally I'm not responsible. Defire Society, we're not responsible for you. I sometimes will stay up very late. I'm not talking stay up late like 3 a.m. I'm talking like I wake up at 9 a.m. on a day, and then it's 9 a.m. the next day. I'm still awake, and I'm sitting there working, because at that point, your brain is so fucking fried, you will not overthink. You go into autopilot, and you just work. You just work on what sounds good to you, and then you're literally, you're in autopilot, and you're just sitting there, and you're just chilling, and you're just working. And that's it. And it's a matter of like getting it done. And then you finally fall asleep after like it's noon. And then you wake up to a fresh set of ears and you're like, whoa, this is sick. I'm telling you, you will not fucking care. You will absolutely not care, because when you're in a state like that. So I think that's a good way to kind of prevent yourself from overthinking, but it's unhealthy as fuck, because it's like you need sleep. I recommend getting sleep, but I definitely get some of my best workout when I do that. Other ways, honestly, kind of comes down to like, I've heard like murmurs of like why that works. Some people like to say, I don't know if this is true, some people will like to say that sleep deprivation is a form of an antidepressant which boosts creativity. I don't know if that's true. Someone told me that once and I just ran with it. See, I don't smoke weed, so that doesn't help me. But if you smoke weed, maybe have a drink or two. I don't know. Do what you gotta do. But another way, you know, it comes down to purely trying to have fun. Make a song not with the intent of putting it out. How about that? That's a good way. Make a song for yourself, like completely for yourself. Do not even think about the mix down at first. Just literally just make a song for fun for yourself, and you'll get a lot further than you would if you were trying to make a song with an intent to put it out. Don't set deadlines on yourself. If you're a bedroom producer and you're not doing this as a career right now, and you're not looking to necessarily do this as a career right now, like you are long term, but right now you're just trying to have fun, trying to learn things, trying to get your name out there, do not set too many crazy deadlines on yourself, and just do it to have fun, because the more you do that, the more you kind of train your brain to get things done in a way where you're not sitting there overthinking on everything. You know, but at the same time, I overthink all the fucking time still. Everyone does. It's natural. It's just how the human, brain works. It just comes down on how you kind of cope with it and how you kind of take it and turn it around. That's what's really important. Take some breaks, hang out, be on Discord with your friends while you produce. I do that shit all the time. That way I'm just working on shit. I start overthinking. I just go on Discord, listen to them talk shit for 5 minutes. I jump back in because I'm not even thinking about what I was thinking about anymore, because they're talking about some fucking DJ drama, or something like that. I don't know, but shit. I don't know, man. Let me run through this master rack really quick with you. This is not the same master. Before I answer some final questions, we maybe listen to that Millennium remix and we head off of here. This is not the master that I use with clients when I do masters, because this is very specific to how I work. So take this at your own risk. Whatever you guys want to do. I have a utility here at the beginning, and it's sitting down -7, -8 decibels, depending. And I have OTT directly after that. And I have the output boost about 10. What that does, at least to my personal ears, having this OTT set to 25% sounds like a lot, but when you have this utility here before it and you have the output boosted on the OTT, it kind of cancels it out. It doesn't really sound like 25%. It doesn't feel as gluey as 25% on the master. It kind of sounds more like 15%, but I like the way it sounds, so that's the way I have it like that. That's the reason I have it like that. There was a saturator here at one point. You don't have to worry about it though. It's not turned on. I do some mid-side EQ cutting. It's one other thing I do on my master that has to do with EQs. I cut off a little bit of the side. I cut off at about 200. I think Virtual Riot does similarly. I used to cut it like 400, but you're cutting too much of the sides, you start getting a little too weird. And anyone that's wondering what that is, it kind of, I can't explain this shit properly for the life of me, but kind of think of music as like a song as like a sphere, or a circle, mainly a sphere though. And then so you have like mono. I would consider it's centered, but I would consider it kind of at the bottom, and you have the sides, which are sitting there along the sides of the sphere, and then you have stereo is just the entire fucking thing at that point. That's the way I like to envision this. This is a fucked way of explaining it. Look, I don't know shit, okay? I just know it sounds good. But then, you know, when you're cutting the sides, it's kind of taking those sides and kind of just getting rid of the stereo out of out of the thin layers of those sides there. If I were to actually just play this for you, because there's a difference here. If I throw a utility on here and I just throw it at the end of this master really quick for you. So you have what mono is, right? And it flattens it all down. You have no stereo with it all. It sounds like this. But there's this thing here, if you just use sides only, check this out. It's different than, you know, like, it kind of sounds like when you have headphones half plugged in, you know? So imagine that, those just like the edges of the fucking spectrum there, being kind of EQ'd away. That way the mono is kind of just filling up, the mono signal is kind of filling up more on that aspect. So I like to cut off only about 200 hertz there. You know, if it's 200 hertz doesn't do too much of a difference, but if I have it high, you could definitely hear it. I think it's important to cut off just a little bit there. I think it sounds a little bit better personally. Look, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. All right, leave me alone. I do have an imager on here, okay? You can't hear it because if I turn it on, oh, it's working. Okay, that's perfect. Alex, I know you're watching. Somehow it's working now. It's brightening the track up. Now look how fucking exaggerated this is on this imager. It is a cell tower to death. It is.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
It is the you know, some people like to mess with these bands here. I use this strictly to brighten up my mix. And you can set this to 100 if you want. You can shift these around. I don't care. You could do that if you want. I don't touch them personally. I leave them as is. It's not that important, okay? People are very strict. People are very anal about band 1, negative 100. Make sure this is at 100 right now. If your sub's not in mono, it's like chill out, okay? It's fine. You're literally fine. No one. I'm telling you right now. Stephanie from fucking Chicago is not gonna tell, okay? Like you're totally chilling, you know? When you're fucking out there and you're playing that shit and they're fucking out on Molly and they're fucking losing their shit on their rail while they're outside of their socially distanced car or whatever, they're not gonna fucking be like, oh, the sub's not in mono. Like, you're fine. I promise, okay? You're chilling, you're good. You can leave it as is. You can make it mono. It doesn't matter. I don't personally touch it. Don't boost it up though. Don't add some width to it. Leave it at 0. Okay. Let's boost it all the way up. No, I'm just kidding. So we're gonna leave it here. We're gonna slowly bring it up like a cell tower. My second, third, and fourth here, we're gonna bring them up kind of by half in a way. 24, 25, bringing it up to 50. I like having a crisp high end, a very high end. So I like to have mine at 70. I would recommend for you maybe around 50, 60. Unless you want to go crazy like me, then feel free. Stephanie hates your mono, she told me. That's so funny. Stereoize 10. I set that around 10 here. It just kind of depends. I'm usually going around 9 or 10. It depends on the track. It doesn't add too much difference depending on the song, depending on how your basses are spread throughout your mix. Just kind of take this and fuck around, see what they sound like. Get stereo imager and check that it's going towards +1 and not into the negative. Super easy and it's free. See, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what you just said. I don't know what that means. We're gonna move on. Thank you. I'll check it out, but I don't even know what that means. I do have a utility here just for some DC offset shit that I could just enable down here to get rid of those like below hearing range artifacts, but I had it on here at some point for some reason. So you know what? Just leave me alone. I have a second utility. It's okay. It's okay. Yo, if Stephanie heard the mono, I'd be upset. Here's the thing though. Like I said, I have a harsh high end here, so. Oh, you were answering the stereo imager. You were answering Jeremy. Okay, I got you now. Got you. I just clicked in my head. I don't know if you just responded yet or not. I have harsh high end. There's another way to check some mono capability as well. Just honestly, if you just throw this on and you throw your utility on the end of your master, you drop it on. If you're sounding like everything's being lost, I would maybe recommend looking into Side Widener. It's a good plugin from this guy, Joey Sturgis. He used to do a lot of production for metal bands, and it's a really great stereo widening plugin that you can just throw on basically anything. I'll show you in a little bit here. I am gonna have to get off here probably in a couple minutes though, because I know I'm going over on the time. But okay, I'm back on track because I'm fucking crazy here. The imager is there's so much high end, so you need to fix it, because if you don't, then it's gonna sound like shit. It's gonna be too high. So I do throw a kind of strict slope, about 48 decibels or so with Pro Q here, sitting at about 18.8, so about 19,000 hertz, 19k or so. You can do 18. I wouldn't go below 17 personally, because then you're starting to lose too much high end. But getting rid of that just gonna help not hurt your little ears, so you don't die. And I top it off with a bit of Fab Filter. And the thing about Fab Filter that I really like, I don't think I do it in this track specifically, but I do. Look at the gain reduction, and look at the gain on here. Ready? Now I know what you're thinking, Ray. Why are you doing it like that? I don't know, because I can boost it that loud and it didn't clip, so it was good to go. That's how all my tracks turn out. They're like negative. They're like plus 11, plus 12, plus 13, plus 14. I have it just set the punchy here, and it ends up being like this, and it somehow works. But yes, he has a great gain reduction plugin. Absolutely get gain reduction deluxe or 2 or the first one from Joey Sturgis. Incredible. I started using it very recently. These 2 tracks I did not use them on, but I started using it. It's amazing. And his plugins are cheap, so I recommend you get them. There's something on here, look ahead, where it's just like how much headroom you have, and I really recommend using it if you use FabFilter Pro L for your buildups. You know how everyone's like, all right, I need my build up to not be as loud as the rest. So I'm going to take a fucking utility here, and I'm going to, go to the build, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to drop this -3 or something, and now it gets quieter before the drop. Yay, we're set. Here's the issue with that. It looks like shit, and it sounds like shit. See, I can't fucking wrap my head around the gain reduction either, okay? I don't know how it works. Look, I don't know. It's sorcery. Like, let's look at it again, because it makes no sense, but I make it work somehow. This is me. All right, this is me. Here I am. This is me. That's me in all my glory. I don't know how I've ever gotten that to work, and it has very well for me. Because I get a good, I'm getting a good amount of loudness out of it. But real quick, with that look ahead, or I was gonna bring up look ahead. You have that utility, right? People are like, oh shit, my drop's gonna be loud because the build up. You know how bad this looks on your waveform? This shit looks gross as fuck when you have this thick ass waveform that obviously just cuts. It's not even like a natural cut. It just like cuts down, and it does not look good at all. So what I recommend doing instead, a smoother version of this, is just using your look ahead with Pro L. You get some really interesting. You can't go down too far with it.
I don't want to break it down.
A little too early there, but you get some really smooth dip and that addition to your headroom there, which could be really useful for fake drops or late drops. I also I've used this I talked about this last time with Mind Games VIP, where the second drop had an auto filter. It was a fake drop, late drop or whatever, and there was a low pass filter that was opening up slowly, and it started sounding really crispy because of the limiter being pushed too hard. But the look ahead really gets rid of that. Anything that might be kind of crushing. So what I like to do sometimes is, let's say you have like an impact after your drop or something, and maybe that impact is like adding too much crunch. Let's go to like the second section here. There's not any crunch here, but if there were, I would actually take this and I would actually just add some of that look ahead here to kind of slowly open, or quickly open, I should say. See, that's too obvious that high up, so we'll go here. There you go. Not a noticeable not a noticeable volume change, but it gets rid of any of the potential crunch, and you can have it slowly kind of go back to the top and rise back to 0. But yeah, this will be available later. Yes, I'm pretty sure. I'm recording it, so I think you have to pay Alex specifically, personally. I think you have to Venmo him $800 to watch this, though. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm just kidding. That's not true. But yeah, I don't know. Let's take the next couple minutes here, next 5 minutes or so. Ask me some questions, but let's do like industry questions or something, because I'm all tuckered out from production shit right now. I hope you guys have found this helpful. I'm taking my headphones off. I hope you guys have found this helpful. Let's hit the bruh. There we go. I hope you guys have found it helpful. Ask me some questions. What do you guys want to know? Ask me questions about me, industry, tips, tricks, trade secrets. I do produce with my master track on. Yeah, I literally just produce with it on, and I mix on the go. Not being musically trained, did you start off checking if all your sounds were in key, or did you always trust your ears and use your judgment? I always used my ears and my judgment. And my friends are not going to be yes men. They're always like, oh, this is off or this is wrong. But I rarely had that issue because, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've been able to trust my ears. I think maybe because I can sing, that helps though. Because because being able to sing, I can like hold a tune. You know, I don't have perfect pitch or some shit like that. Oh God, I wish I did. But you know, being able to sing in some way, I think helps me be able to kind of hear what's on or off. But I do have a friend he knows perfect pitch, and he'll tell you if something's fucking 7 fucking cents off. It's insane to me. How does one get a manager, and how beneficial is it to your career? Having a manager where I am in my career is incredibly beneficial because I'm a mid-tier artist. If you are a high-tier A-list artist, I would argue you don't need management because you're gonna get opportunities yourself easily, and you kind of are set in everything you need. And I'm talking A-list. I'm talking fucking Skrillex. I'm talking Mello. I'm talking DJ Snake, Diplo. They don't need management if they don't want it. But fucking, it's still good to fucking have. Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm just saying that like what you need, if just to not focus on it if you're an up and coming producer, because if anything, just scratch what I'm talking about, the bigger producers thing. It's just kind of like I'm talking in terms of like how beneficial is it to you, because I'm saying you need this when they come to you. You should never, in my personal opinion, go and look for management, because that's how opportunities can be really kind of twisted and manipulated, and you can get fucked over that way. And also, you should be working with someone that wants to work with you, not go and, pitch yourself to somebody else. I think that if you're a small act, you should make music and put shit out there, send shit out to, blog channels, YouTube channels, SoundCloud labels, Marshmallow, do you Mellow? Yeah. Like, if you're a small artist, I wouldn't worry too much about the management side of things yet. I think because in good time, they're going to come to you. If you're making good music, they will come to you. Agents will come to you. It's all going to, they're going to, approach you and be like, hey, we want to work with you. And I think that it's important to let that happen that way, because it's going to be a natural approach. And I think it's really important that there's some equal passion on both sides, and you want to work with someone that's like excited, that comes to you and like, yo, I'm stoked on your project. I think that's really important. And excuse me, I don't have Corona, I swear to God. I wanted to bring up something else about like management and stuff like that. Oh, yo, look, you might have management and think that you're in the fucking best situation, but there was a tweet about it. Proximity tweeted about this. Sometimes you get approached by a big management company and they might fucking suck because they have big acts that they're going to push. And they might be like, yeah, we're going to leverage you, and then they might not. Sometimes they let you sit on the back burner or do ghost production work for the clients on the management team. This shit happens. Sometimes it's going to happen. So if you get approached by a huge company, a huge management company, you need to look at what they're going to provide you, and you need to like know what they're going to do for you. Sometimes it's better off to go to somebody that's more hungry, that's maybe not as known in the scene. I was with a manager for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years I was with a certain manager, and things were good for a while, and then things weren't working anymore. I wasn't happy anymore, and that management stopped believing in me. They told me my project was dead. Like, this was in September, October, November of 2019. I've never talked about this, actually. I was told my project's dead. I was told that I will never grow. I was told that Ray Volpe's nothing, basically. And I was told to restart my project from scratch. I said, no, you're dumb. And I didn't say that you're dumb. I said, like, I respectfully, strongly disagree. And it came down to, hey, you rebrand or we can't work with you. And I said, I'm not rebranding. So I left. I work with a different manager now. This manager, not as like, what is it called? More fresh to the scene, not as connect like Handy, but he manages some of a really fucking dope act that is super buzzing from 2019. Did a great job. I'm a lot happier. What have I done this year that I did last year? I have done so much more this year than I did last year. I've done the Disciple EP. I've done what I did a fucking Excision remix and a Lenium remix. I have 2 successful merch drops. Like, just so much has happened that I'm a lot happier about now. So kind of, you have to think about these things, you know? When it comes to, you know, see here, you know, getting noticed from your music, I think it's really important to send your shit out to as many people as possible. You know, go ahead and send your shit to blogs, send your shit to YouTube channels. But here's the thing: don't go ahead, like if you have, you know, if you only have 500 SoundCloud followers or something like that, and you don't have a portfolio out of songs, and you don't have a lot like kind of going on in terms of buzz with your name, I would really recommend that you don't get discouraged and don't freak out and don't get like fuck labels when you send shit to Never Say Die and you don't get accepted from them. Like, you don't get, like, you know, they're gonna, like, is most likely they're not gonna say yes. Most likely, I'll be honest with you, because at the end of the day, you have to remember that labels are a business. I'm doing a whole YouTube video on this soon, so be on the lookout. Labels are a business at the end of the day, and there's a lot that goes into it, and you need to be able to bring something to the table that they can invest in, because most of the time, if you're a smaller artist, they're not gonna make that money back that they put into the marketing on the release, the artwork on the release. There's a lot of reasons that your song might not get accepted. So I recommend starting small. Start off with these SoundCloud collectives and these SoundCloud labels. Submit your shit to Dubstep Gutter puts out up and coming acts all the time. You're not going to get money from that video. He's going to take the content ID, but that's okay when you are in a spot where you do need it. Like, there's a difference between like being like fuck being paid in exposure when you are a small act versus when you are growing and you're buzzing and then you're like, okay, wait, no, I deserve a cut of this. You know, you can't be too there's a really gray area of like bending over or like you know, actually taking the exposure that not like being too entitled too early, because I see that sometimes with some acts, but I don't think you guys are like that. You guys are very smart, everyone in here. You know, oh, you got your merch today? That's dope. Sorry, I haven't been reading the checks. I'm just ranting. But I think, you know, good way to start off with some SoundCloud labels, YouTube channels, blogs, anywhere that you can send out your shit to. Ask artists, ask me. I'll tell you right now, promo@rayvolpemusic.com. That's my promo email. I check it like once every 2 or 3 weeks. I go through, I listen to everything. I can't respond to everything. I mainly respond if I really fuck with it. But, you know, just send that. And if you need other artists, you send them a DM on Twitter or Instagram, or you tweet them. Don't spam them, but you say, yo, do you have a promo email? Don't say I have songs I want to send you. Just like leave it like, hey, do you have a promo email? Or like, do you have a music demo email? Just something simple like that. If they respond, then great. If they don't, move on to the next one. And then you can, you know, reach out and you can be like, yo, here's my song. Leave it simple. Hey, here's my tune. Here's a link. Hope you like it. There you go. Check it out. Maybe they like it. Maybe they don't. If they don't answer it, guess what? That's okay. They might listen to the next one. It's not guaranteed, but, you know, you can't give up, I guess, that easily. You have to just keep sending, you know, over time, and eventually they're gonna fucking listen to it and be like, yo, this is fucking sick, and then they're gonna like it, and then you're gonna make a new connect and a new friend and a new producer that you can talk to. I don't know, man. But yeah, what else we got here before I head off of here, because I do want to go eat some dinner. Yeah, be yourself, be true to yourself, but like I said, you have to remember, you can't ever be too entitled too fast. You have to be willing to, you know, do things in music and careers, like with your career, to be able to, you know, move forward. You might want to be like, I want to have a tight knit brand and have only, you know, do this and only do that on my socials. But then it's like, hey, you know, if you get offered to do a sick remix or a sick compilation, you need to be able to, you know, twist what you want to do to be able to, you know, make these things happen. So it's, you know, it's okay to kind of break out of those barriers. I can't help my curiosity. Am I consuming stimulants like coffee, energy drinks? When I'm on no sleep and I'm working, I'm on Red Bull. That's the only thing. I don't drink coffee. The email again is promo@rayvolpemusic.com. I don't drink coffee. I drink a lot of Red Bull on the weekends, only on the weekends. Otherwise, I just drink water and sugar-free vitamin water. But yeah, really quick, I am going to head off of here. I've had a fun time with you guys. I've been on here for 2 hours, 30 minutes over, but it's worth it because you guys are fucking fun. You know, hopefully D-Fire want me back, because I'll come back absolutely. But I do want to say I love you guys. Keep working on all your music. Send me shit if you want. Promo at rayvolpemusic.com. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Wait. Before we go, we have to listen to Lenium remix. We will listen to it. Absolutely. If anyone wants a one-on-one, drop me a DM on Facebook. Drop me a DM on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that. I can give you all the info. I can give lessons on anything you want. I can do your mixes. I can do your masters. I'll ghost produce for you. No, I won't. Maybe I will. This will be the workshop I show to other artists that come to the workshop. Wow, thank you so much. I'm glad I raised the bar. Fuck yeah, dude. I just like keeping it real. I might get my ass beat for it one day. That's gonna suck. Let's listen to this Millennium remix. It's about to drop right now. It'll be on SoundCloud tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's gonna be on Spotify and Apple Music literally in 1 minute. So let's go ahead and let's listen to this shit before we head off here, and then I'm gonna leave. And yeah, let's check this out together. Open up the good old iTunes. If it'll load. Uh-oh. Here we go. Oh, it's not loading through iTunes. Oh, shit. Let's put it through Ableton then. Open up a new project. And get a little listening party. So stick around if you guys want to hear it. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a good night. Tell Roy I said what's up. Absolutely. Let's see here. Oh, man. I'm waiting for the Ableton to respond so I can play this, because I want to play this for you guys before you guys get off here as like a special treat for sticking around the entire time. Here we go. Awesome. Are you guys ready? A Millennium remix. Brand new. Go listen to it on Spotify after this so I can take all your money. Here we go. Lower it a little bit.
It's never gonna get any better than me. I could throw my
But thank you. I'm really excited about it. I'm not talking about the forum. I'm not going to talk about it because we're all on good terms with them. That's business at the end of the day. They felt how they felt, and that's okay. I'm not upset about it. Yeah, let me take those 0.03 cents. Look at the bruh.
Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
Every time that I fall, even when I'm in so deep, it gets hard to see you're still all in. I've been lost by myself in the darkness. Know that I can find my way even on the days when it's hard. But I still need you to ease my load. Only when the lightning strikes, lead me home. And I don't know which way is right.
Oh shit, my bad, my mic was off. I was saying for Spotify, then do follow on Spotify download gates, free download on Spotify, and you get the, follow on Spotify, get the download, or do pre-save campaigns. Can you hear me now? Should be able to. Yeah, good. Pre-save campaigns are really important. Very, very important. Here comes the melodic drop. thank you guys for tuning in. It's all layering and leveling. I don't do anything crazy. I hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys learned something. If you guys want to hit me up anytime, hit me up on any of my socials. You guys want lessons, hit me up on my socials. Private one-on-ones, mixing, mastering, whatever you guys need. Drop me a message, and I'm gonna head off of here. So with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend coming up. Thank you, DeFi, for having me. I'll be back most likely, probably. And yeah, I love you guys, man. So I'm gonna head the fuck out of here and eat some food. Good night, guys. Goodbye.